Sinjuri, u merħba għal dan il-webinar li mniedi minn ġemma li huwa mnebbaħ ukoll mill-pubblikazzjoni riċenti li għamlet ġemma dwar dan is-suġġett, jiġifieri dwar il-frauds u l-scams. We will be asking participants if any of you cannot follow in Maltese or would prefer the discussion to be held in English. So kindly enter in your chat, in the chat box, whether you are able to follow in Maltese or in English. Do we have anybody who, English preferably, please? Maltese is fine, English is good too. So we have a mixture here. Okay, we have some foreign guests and we will therefore conduct the discussion in English. However, the presentation slides are in English, but the delivery will be done in Maltese. Just for your info, as you are seeing on your screens, this session will be recorded for viewing later on. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function. Whereas if you would like to make any comments, please put them in the chat function. We have David Spiteri-Ginjal with us in the background, who will be viewing your comments and questions, and will be forwarding for the panel discussion. For those who may not be familiar with ÇEMMA, ÇEMMA is the Maltese government's platform with the objective of spearheading initiatives that try to foster a greater financial capability among Maltese citizens. And as such, what it does is obviously it aligns itself with other entities and other organizations in their efforts to forever increase financial capability among Maltese citizens. And therefore it has come to agreements with a number of other organizations to further this aim of increasing financial capability within Malta. With us today, we have Iris Kamiller-Mifsud, who is a consultant with ÇEMMA and who will also be making a presentation based on the two ebooks recently published by ÇEMMA. We have Mark Drago from HSBC, who is the Deputy Head of Financial Crime and Compliance. We also have Aldo Mamo from Bank of Valletta, who is the Senior Manager for Data Protection and Information Security. Kam Kapia, who heads the eSkills Foundation, and Anthony Tomaselli-Ketbuti, who is the Front-End Relationship Manager for the Malta Financial Services Authority. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for accepting our invitation to be on this webinar, and we look forward to your interventions later on. At this point, I would like to invite Iris to start her presentation, and we'll follow what she has to say. Iris?
Yes, I'm going to. Mela, l-ewwel nett nibdew billi nagħtu rikonoxximent xieraq, ċEMMA tagħti rikonoxximent xieraq lill-Kummissjoni Awstraljana tal-Kompetizzjoni u tal-Konsumatur li fis-sena 2012 ħarġet bil-kunċett u nediet il-kotba ta' li jisimhom Little Black Books of Scams and Fraud. Dan il-konċett imbagħad ġie irreplikat mill-Servizz tal-Pulizija Metropolitana tal-Ingilterra kif ukoll mill-Kummissjoni tal-Kapaċità Finanzjarja tal-New Zealand. Infatti, fl-sena l-oħra li til-Black Box, is-Servizz tal-Metropolitana tal-Ingilterra ħarġet ir-raba edizzjoni tiegħu. Issa, għaliex ġemma ħasset li għandha tnedi daw il-kodba. Palma jaf kulħadd is-soċjetà Maltija qed tuża iżjed, qed tisir iżjed diġitali u l-użu tal-internet qed jikber. Miegħu qed jikbru wkoll l-scams u l-frodi li qed jiġu ibbażati fuq it-teknoloġija iżjed milli kif konna nafuhom qabel tradizzjonalment. L-iżjed grupp li qed jiġi affettwat jew attakkat, approċċjat huwa il-grupp vulnerabbli u għaldaqstant dawn isiru vittma. Il-frodist jattakka il-dal grupp għaliex isibu bħal l-anzjani isibu li għandhom ħin iżjed fuq idejhom, forsi anke naif fit-teknoloġija u allura ikunu iżjed easy targets. L-iżjed skemi li huma magħrufin mal-anzjani huma dawk li il-frodist imur jew bit-telefon iċempillek jew inkella jdur bil-bib jew inkella ikun hemm xi reklami. U hawnhekk il-frodist ikollu l-intenzjoni li attakka l-informazzjoni ta' fuq il-credit card jew ta' parsi biex ibellek prodotti tas-saħħa jew inkella biex jiġelek tagħmel xi investiment jew xi manutenzjoni. Għalhekk il-ġemma ħasbet li tagħmel daw iż-żewġ kodba biex tiġbor kollox fiha. Daw il-frodi li jistgħu potenzjalment jiġu attakkati bihom in-nies u tarmhom b'informazzjoni ħalli ma jkollhomx il-quddiem telf finanzjarju kif ukoll emozjonali. Having said all this, anke jekk wieħed il-ġaġment tiegħu jkun qatt xorta attent u ma xorta jista' jaqa' vittma, ġemma tirrakkomanda li tirrapporta malajr kemm jista' jkun biex ma jkun hemmx ħadd ieħor li jaqa' vittma wkoll. Issa, x'inhuma il-tattiċi li jużaw il-frodisti? Il-frodisti jużaw tattiċi li huma differenti. Daqqa jippruvaw jiġbru il-trust tiegħek billi jkunu friendly, simpatetiċi, jqogħdu jkellmuk u tgħid kemm hu ħelu, kemm hu hekk u nafdaħ, speċjalment l-anzjani, jew inkella jużaw tattiċi ta' biża' biex intittihom dak kollu li huma jridu, li ħafna drabi tkun informazzjoni tiegħek personali. Fil-rapport li ħareġ tal-European Commission l-Ipsos is-sena l-oħra jgħid li l-iżjed skemi li huma scams li huma vera komuni huma dawk irrelatati mal-Medicare fejn il-frodist jippreżenta ruħu bħala xi rappreżentant ta' xi kura u hemmhekk joħodlok id-dettalji dak li nafuhom aħna phishing jew smishing. Il-counterfeit prescription drugs li nafu kemm il-mediċina hija għolja l-anzjan qed ifittex fl-internet forsi jieħodhom bir-ħies u mbagħad jinduna li daw ikunu fake, funerali, il-frodist ikun jaf mill-obituaries minnu il-mejjed u imur japproċċja il-familjari tiegħu li jkunu għaddejjin minn żmien vulnerabbli biex jipperswadihom li dak kellu xi djun u ma jridu jħallsuh. Nafu speċjalment in-nisa kemm huwa għaljin l-anti-aging products u allura speċjalment il-branded ones u daw itellaw websites fakes fejn in-nies jaħorġu ħafna flus biex jixtru dak prodotti li jkunu fake, telefonati li huma vera popolari mal-anzjani għaliex jikkonvinċuhom jibgħatu xi flus l-rabata tagħhom barra mill-pajjiż li ma jkun vera xejn. Internet fejn iġellu lill-anzjani ta' parsi għandhom problemi bl-internet biex jinżlu xi fake antivirus u hemmhekk jieħdu wkoll id-dettalji tal-pagament tal-credit card tagħhom investimenti nafu li l-anzjani dejjem jippjanaw għall-futur tagħhom u kif jimmaneġġjaw flushom u il-fraudist jippreżenta ruħu bħala financial advisor biex ikun jista' jaċċessa l-fondi tagħhom, mortgages, jibgħatu ittri ta' parsi uffiċjali li tuk il-valutazzjoni tad-dar tiegħek għal xi miżata, għal xi flus, lotteriji, kemm nirċievu emails u ittri li rbaħna xi lotterija daqs dinja jekk inti tħallax li somma jibgħatu lilek u ma jkun vera xejn, kemm iridu noqogħdu attenti. Għalhekk ġemma ħasbet li tiġbor daw l-10 pariri li nistgħu ngħidulhom mandamenti fejn wieħed ikun jista' joqgħod attent biex ma jaqax għal daw l-iskemi. L-iskemers jattakkaw kull ħin u kull mument, allura m'għandikx tinżel il-gard tiegħek. Tirrispondix għall-bib, la emails, la li ma tkunx taf minn fejn ġejjin, id-delitjhom mal-ewwel. Taċċettax affarijiet xi offerta x'inhi li hija straightforward mingħajr ma tagħmel l-indaġini tiegħek, mingħajr ma tara listings, mingħajr ma tidħol mal-regolatur, MFSA, biex tarek vera dik l-offerta hija teżisti u min hu dak li qed jippreżenta. Ara ma' min qed tiddilja, min hu l-persuna kwix affidabbli. Tħallix l-scammers jilagħbu bl-emozzjoni tiegħek biex inti tarhom ħelwin, tafdhom u tihom flus. Ara li l-kompjuter tiegħek ikun ukoll armat bl-aħħar antivirus minn sorsi affidabbli għalli kemm jista' jkun ma tiġix attakkata wkoll mill-computer. Meta tħallas fuq l-online, make sure li il-site tkun sikur bil-simbolu tal-katnazz ħalli kemm jista' jkun ovvjament ma jaħdulekx l-informazzjoni tal-kredit card tiegħek. Tħallix li tibgħat flus li nies barra tagħtihomlhom għax għandhom bżonn għax ħajinvestuhomlok whatever lin nies li ma tafhomx. Ipproteġi l-identità tiegħek, kumpaniji serji qatt ma jsaqsu għall affarijiet personali, l-informazzjoni personali tiegħek, mela qgħod attent. Jekk minkejja kollox kif qedna taqa' xorta vittma irrapporta mill-aktar fis possibbli l-computer.crime @gov.mt waħda minnhom ħalli ma tħallix il-ħadd ieħor jaqa' vittma wkoll. Pariri iżjed li tagħti ġemma hija li jekk tkun qed tuża il-Wi-Fi pubbliku oqgħod attent li ma tgħaddix informazzjoni bankarja u sensittiva. If anything, uża 3G, 4G u 5G connection għax din is-sistema hija kriptata u d-data ma tkunx tista' tiġi maħuda kif ġieħu leħa. Jekk ħatuża il-Wi-Fi hotspot ukoll oqgħod attent li huwa trustworthy fejn ma tafx saqsi jew tużax. Tista' tuża wkoll il-netwerk virtwali privat li dan ukoll tista' tniżlu fuq tagħmir elettroniku bħala app, ovvjament minn sites dejjem affidabbli. U hawnhekk ukoll id-data tkun kriptata. Oqgħod attent minn kun qed iħuf mid-dawra tiegħek meta qed tuża il-Wi-Fi pubbliku biex ma jinsteraqlekx id-dettalji personali tiegħek. Issa, hemm 3 kwalità ta' scams fuq l-investiment li l-anzjan jista' jiġi attakkat bihom. L-investiment jista' vera jkun kompletament fake, mela trid toqgħod attent, tuħu l-ħin tiegħek, issaqsi huma ħafna fejn tista' ssaqsi intermediaries li jgħidulek hekk hux dak l-investiment huwa vera ġenwin jew le. L-investiment jista' jkun ġenwin imma l-iskemer ovvjament joħodlok flusek u jippukotjhom għandu milli jinvestihomlok. Jista' jkun li l-iskemer jippreżenta ruħu bħala rappreżentant ta' vera kumpanija affidabbli imma jkun qed jikdeb għax ovvjament ma jkollu l-intenzjoni ma tkunx tajba xejn. Hawnhekk il-slide li jmiss turi kif mir-rapport tal-European Commission tal-Ipsos li sar is-sena l-oħra kif il-scams u l-frodi jistgħu jisponu lill-individu u l-familjari tagħhom jew il-relatives għal loss emozjonali kif ukoll finanzjarju. Għalhekk daw jitilfu l-konfidenza milli jixtru u jagħmlu ċertu expenditure online, which affects mbagħad negatively il-growth ekonomiku tal-pajjiż u anke il-kreazzjoni ta' jobs, new jobs. Infatti, il-Single Market Ewropej, is-suq uniku diġitali Ewropej, jistma li l-online shopping jikrea 415 biljun euro f'additional growth. U dan jisarraf f'mijiet ta' eluf ta' jobs. So, allura huwa importanti li il-soċjetà tkun armata b'din l-informazzjoni ta' daw il-frodi possibbli minn kull angolu ħalli kemm jista' jkun il-growth ekonomiku ma jinqas. Issa fuq din l-slide għandna kif fl-aħħar sentejn il-Europeans sofrow minn tipi ta' scams li ma kienux biss finanzjarji imma 80% kienu wkoll fiżiċi u kienu emozjonali. U dawn 79% minnhom l-emozzjoni kienet tant deep fihom li baqgħu jibżgħu milli jagħmlu shopping online. 24% laqqas biss ma rikuperaw il-flushom li kienu minn 500 euro jgħidlek ir-rapport onwards. Waqt li 6% sofrow fiżikament u affettwalhom ħajjithom saħħithom ukoll. Allura importanti kemm verament iridu noqogħdu attenti li ma naqgħux vittmi. F'di il-slide turina kemm minn daw kollha li ġew attakkati bil-frodi, 39% minnhom kienu fuq frodi monetarji. Fuq xiri kena 23% li ma kienx mhix ċifra żgħira, waqt li serq tal-identità kienet ta' 33%. Pagamenti biex inti jibatulek da famuż rebħ li inti tkun irbaħ hija ta' 28%. Request ħalli jieħdu l-informazzjoni tiegħek personali hija ta' 22, waqt l-informazzjoni li ta' parsi l-computer jew l-internet mhux qiegħed tajjeb hija ta' 21. Hemm iżjed persentaġġi li forsi meta nkunu qegħdin nitkellmu bħala grupp joħorġu wkoll li huma verament interessanti. Din l-slide, l-aħħar slide hija fuq kif ġew l-aħħar sentej l-Ewropej il-persentaġġi tagħhom kif huma maqsuma. Jidher li l-Ewropa tal-Punent kienet iżjed suscettibbli għal daw il-frodi. Infatti għandha minn 67 to 69% li mhix ċifra żgħira. Waqt li l-Ewropa tal-Lvant, il-Bulgarija, il-Ċipru u l-Ungerija għandhom bejn 17 u 28% biss. Issa jew daw huma cautious milli jixtru bit-teknoloġija ġdida online u daw l-affarijiet. Jew inkella huma verament knowledgeable, allura joqogħdu attenti biex ma jingidmux. Malta jekk tara fejn tidħol l-identità ta' theft, aħna nidhru li nafdaw wisq għax qiegħda fuq in-naħa, 29% fuq in-naħa tal-high end iżjed mill-low end. Forsi hemmhekk iridu noqogħdu iżjed attenti. Di kienet il-preżentazzjoni qasira, provajt naġġel kemm jista' jkun biex ma nħux ħafna ħin. Nirringrazzjakom talli għadtu tisimgħu. Grazzi u ngħaddi lilek il-kelma, Mario.
Grazzi Iris ta' dik il-preżentazzjoni konċisa for this concise presentation, yet very informative. Of course, you will find a lot of information on the 2 e-books which ÇEMMA has published and which I would urge you also to download if you haven't already done that. Turning now to the panel. My first question is, Gemma has done this, has published these two books, is doing this webinar with the intent, obviously, of providing knowledge, providing explanation, providing a forum wherein to have this discussion. And I would like to ask each of the panel members to understand what their involvement, the involvement of their institution or organization is in fostering greater awareness about the dangers of scams and frauds, which, as we have seen, is not only limited to financial loss, which perhaps in reality is the least of evils in all this, but because there is also, of course, the what you pay by way of psychological pain and by feeling violated even. So starting with you, Carm, from the eSkills Foundation, what role is it playing in trying to mitigate this evil, so to speak? Carm? I think we have lost Carm.
Carm. So.
Sorry, I wasn't muted. Yes, eSkills for the Foundation, first of all, it was launched in 2014, and its precursor was the eSkills Malta, the eSkills Alliance. So, in fact, it has been for some time. The major objective, our major objective, is always to increase digital skills in Malta and also to help the IT profession to develop further. Obviously, for us, knowledge and skills in Malta, in every individual actually, is key. Okay, so in fact, our target groups include society, which is the citizens, organizations and SMEs, also education, including students and teachers, but also the IT professionals. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. To achieve this, we collaborate with a lot of stakeholders. The foundation is a coalition of entities who founded this organization, and includes MITA, includes the MGA, MCA, Ministry for Education, and also the Chamber of Commerce and Malta Enterprise. And together, these can contribute a lot to us to go forward on our objectives. For us, ÇEMMA is, of course, a star, what we call a star initiative, because it is something that is sustainable and also very valuable. So for us, when we were approached for collaboration, we accepted immediately, because we think that we can contribute. So what we do in Malta, we disseminate knowledge and skills, and also sometimes train, because awareness, especially of things like this, are important. Now there are a lot of figures thrown around. However, I need I need everybody to know that when Iris was talking about percentages, sometimes you see them small, but if you want an easy, effect to say what the effect will be, is basically get those averages and multiply them by the Maltese population, and all of a sudden you'll see that, for instance, 6% is actually 27,000. So we have to be careful. These things are not something to be, oh yes, but could I be one of them? But it is. The way we operate is, both for companies and the society, we engage with local councils and with organizations and ministries, and we try to help them to achieve their aims. Okay, sometimes if it's something very specialized, We have connections as an organization, both with technical people and also with local councils and all that. You know, if anything, at any time we need to give a presentation or on something specific, we know where to go.
And
It
of
is
course, you've
important.
recently also signed an MOU with ģEMMA to better
Yes,
regulate,
yes,
you know, move
that's right.
forward with
That's right.
this.
Usually, we like to have something formal so that at least we know how we can collaborate. And the memorandum of understanding is a first step. And we plan, as you may know, Mario, that we plan to do other things. You know, what we're doing for ģEMMA, for instance, is to review the e-books and see where we contribute further, and also help to maybe organize some sessions of training and things like that. You know, it is very important. By the way, you know, fraud and scam is very good business for criminals. Very good business. If you read about it, you know, you find people who are specifically employed to make money out of you people who are watching. And don't think that you're not going to fall, because today or tomorrow you might find yourself in a situation that you know you would actually fall for it. And now Iris mentioned a number. I've got lots of examples. Recently, I've heard that, for instance, HSBC in UK were hit with phishing, because there are these terms that always come up. Phishing, which is phishing, which phishing is pretending to be somebody else. Phishing is through text, SMS. So they were receiving, for instance, a message that this amount was posted in your account. Can you please go to this website to confirm your identity? And obviously from there, people will obviously.
No, I think it, you
So,
know, if you look at the news, you will find something new coming up every day. And you are
every
right,
day.
it is big business. And I think there is no one better than our panelists from the two major banks, BOV and
Yes.
HSBC, to give us a take on that. I would like to ask, in fact, Aldo, from BOV's perspective, and then I'll follow up with Mark. What do you, as banks, do to try and educate your consumers about the perils of frauds and what the online offers? Aldo, perhaps you can start. I'm
Hello.
going in alphabetical order here, BOV, HSBC. So I'm not accused of any preference here. Aldo.
Yes, one might, we're speaking about the educational aspect, but there's also the technical aspect as well. But that's a part. The educational aspect is banks, not just banks, mind you. We do issue warnings and banners on websites, etc., especially when there are phishing going on and things like that. So that is basically it when it comes to education. We always advise people not to give login credentials like passwords and things like that. Banks and companies in general that will never ask for that. So it's these type of campaigns with very short messages, but which I believe go through. You would not need to overload people with daily messages, because I think the effect will be minimized.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So one would need to select the appropriate period or week to go and pass on these messages.
Yeah.
But,
Mark?
sorry, but online, when you go online, you know, you find 24/7, you find that BOV always, you know, puts a note, not to give your identity to anyone. That is very effective. As soon as you go in, you know, You
Exactly.
have it there. It is really very, very.
I was referring, yes, to these short sentences or warnings, which, because if you need
Mark?
to select the appropriate period.
So
Mark
first of
Ramirez?
all, yeah, first of all, I mean, for awareness, we do employ sophisticated measures to protect our customers' money, and then employ controls that are both visible and invisible to the customer. Like things that are visible to the customer are the authentication and the authorization controls, card and PIN, your login credentials, authentication token, transaction data signing, etc., etc. And also things that are invisible to the customers, like ATMs, for example, anti-skimming devices that will thwart attacks whereby fraudsters are trying to copy your card once you're inserting it in the ATM, and other technical devices like that. It's important as well that customers follow what we publish on our websites from a security point of view. And it's not only not giving your authentication credential, the importance of having firewalls installed on all your devices, because people tend to forget that your mobile is more powerful sometimes than your computer of 2 years ago. So it's not only the credentials, but also employing antiviruses, firewalls, and other controls that the end user needs to do, because today what we're finding is that fraudsters are targeting our customers directly. Rather than targeting the bank's infrastructure, they target most of the time the customers' machines, and basically they try to avoid coming directly to the bank. Awareness, however, is key, as everybody is saying, and we do regular training to our staff, both those that are front-facing staff and also from those that are from the back end. And this is important because they are the first line of defense for us, and they can talk to customers. And sometimes we stop fraud just by questioning the customer why he's doing a certain transaction. And most of the scams we do find, especially the vulnerable persons, they do come to the bank to do transfers to foreign jurisdictions where they never had done any transactions before. We also train our relationship managers, because one of the biggest fraud normally happens to businesses with things like CEO fraud, where they are duped into sending money to the wrong beneficiary. So we do educate our relationship managers so that when they are talking to their customers, they raise the points and give them some hints and tips on what controls they need to adopt. Sometimes it's very simple. Don't just use email, verify an account number by doing a phone call, for example, rather than relying only on email, which can be intercepted and somebody else might be looking at it. So, and also we do cooperate with law enforcement. We do have discussions with law enforcement. We do have discussions with regulators, and also urge customers to report the fraud cases to the authorities, so that, as you rightly said, stop other victims from falling to the scams, etc.
Thank you, Mark. Anthony, the MFSA, I know that it publishes regularly some warnings and so on. Can you give us an idea of how you go about that? How
Sure.
you try to disseminate that as widely as possible?
Yes. First of all, good morning, all the panelists, and thank you for the invitation. This is a great opportunity to veiculate a very important message to all those that are attending this webinar. The MFSA, as the regulator of the financial services, have an active role in preventing frauds and scams. How do we do that? This happens because we are one of the major mandates of the MFSA is the protection of the consumers. We do that through two major channels, which is the supervision from a conduct perspective, and on the other side, the education of the consumer. Because unfortunately, nowadays, people call the MFSA when it is too late. So it is very important to prevent, to educate people in order to prevent them to fall victim of scams. The MFSA has taken many initiatives in this regard. Among them, I can mention the publication of many public notices and warnings in terms to advise people on possible scams, and where there are websites which are of dubious nature. We also went in television and radio programs to basically conduct discussions and inform people in a very simple way, just giving tips, because the most important is how to vehiculate this message. So we already mentioned the fact that the possible victims of these scams are vulnerable people. So entering into technicalities wouldn't be advisable. We need to speak in a simple way, give tips to people so they wouldn't accept the proposals of these scammers. And on the other side, we also have conducted social media campaigns, and not only in social media, but also media campaigns when we basically publish articles and so on. And now we have initiated also this closer collaboration with ÇEMMA, where we have this mandate of education of the consumer, which is very close to each other's mandate. So this is very important from this point of view.
Thank you, Anthony. One of the slides which Iris actually showed towards the end, in terms of this, the report that was authored by Ipsos on behalf of the European Commission, showed Malta actually coming in lower than the EU average in terms of the prevalence of fraud and scams. What would you attribute this to? Who would like to go for that? Aldo.
Well, you know, it depends from what angle you see it. I mean, we always, remember that these scammers and these, as I said, it's good business for criminals. So usually they target, the countries that are bigger, and because obviously there are more things to gain from there. Having said that, as we're saying these days, the digital part of society and of business, let's say, is there, and therefore, you know, we will be, if it happened abroad, for sure it will touch Malta somehow or another. Obviously, there is lack of reporting in Malta as well. Let's remember, as somebody mentioned, that, you know, in fact, even internationally, we know that financial institutions, for instance, do not report everything. And so they don't, organizations, because obviously it will undermine, obviously, their business and relationships. So all in all, everybody does it. However, I think in Malta, we do have corporate-wise a lot of safeguards. You know, the Bank of Valletta, HSBC, MFSA, they all mentioned that they do very actively in their work. Remember also, as well, Malta, we're usually ahead of other countries when it comes to technical capabilities. I mean, Malta is ranked as 5th in the Digital Economy and Society Index, and out of 28 countries. Okay, so that is already a good thing. I think that's it. We're always average. Malta is always in the middle in a lot of things. But also our strength in the people we have, in the skills and knowledge is perhaps a little bit better. And somebody mentioned the technical aspect, okay? And it is important, I didn't mention it, but apart from awareness, the technical capability of organizations must be up there. People are the weakest link, okay? So scams and frauds and digital scams and frauds, there are a number of sources, but basically this people is the first one that they mention. So people need to be trained, people need to be guided. If you see how many files, sensitive files are accessible to all employees, you'd notice that, hey, you know, this is a case of social engineering. I could phone Mark Drago and try to pretend who I am and you know, try to fool the person, you know, and he might not fall, Mark, but if I call his colleague, you know, so people are one of the weakest link. Of course, the technical infrastructure is important, as is training. I don't have any particular answer, however, why Malta is, we seem to me in the middle in a lot of things.
I am. Aldo, you were about to say something.
Yes, from experience as well. Sometimes people or customers become suspicious for the simple reason that when it comes, for example, to scams by telephone, right? Usually the fraudsters are not Maltese-speaking. And if, for example, they are trying to mimic a bank, customers usually do expect Maltese-speaking employees, or at least if we do speak in English, because obviously we do speak in English as well. And especially vulnerable persons, there are of them who don't speak English. They become suspicious, and the fact they call back the bank and I got a phone. So if one might also argue as well that our own language is an advantage, if you know what I mean.
And I would imagine even our size would be an advantage. In other words, there aren't as many people, you know, in a big market. There are more ways to hide yourself, in a sense. And here in Malta, we have the tendency of saying everybody knows everybody, which is obviously fallacious. But in a sense, the small size of the population, I think, could also possibly explain why we come in below the EU average, so to speak, in terms of the prevalence of certain frauds and scams. Having said that, Carm earlier made a comment, you know, even if 6% would appear to be low, for example, that means 27,000 people, which is a lot of people. I'd like to now, just to make, you know, everybody aware that we're not talking a sort of academically here about the subject. I would like to share now the experience of one of a victim of scams, who is going to recount their story about what they went through when they fell victim to this scam. So here's this very short video.
Inġejt mistieden biex nagħmel dal-profil fuq żewġ scams li jiena kont vittma tagħhom. Ġejt mistieden dal-webinar. Biex nagħti daqsxejn ta' profile jiena bniedem li għandi degree għandi 2, edukat. Żewġ scams li kont vittma tagħhom, it-tnejn għandhom x'jaqsmu mal-computers, però t-tnejn huma scams differenti. Kien perjodu ta' ħajti fejn kont naħdem 12, 13, 14 siegħa kuljum u biex ngħidu hekk mix-xogħol għad-dar mid-dar għax-xogħol. U ma konna niltaqa' ma' ħadd. Dak kien għadu żmien fejn għadu kemm beda l-internet u beda id-dating online. U għal 1998 kont għatwija mux xorta, niltaqa' ma' ħadd anyway f'ħajti, għannu provaħ. U beginner's luck ġit tajba. U għamilċu sentejn uħroġ ma ġit fajda. Basomma, da żmien, eccetera. U xi 5 snin l-isfel biex ngħidlek. Kelli rġajt għaddi, again, konna għaddi msijat twal, kont waħdi, u għad, dik kienet ħadmet, nerġa' nipprova. U l-istorja hija di, ġifieri kont iżjed kif tajt attuned, provajt nassigura li nidħol ġew websites li huma għandhom quality mark biex ngħidlek li suppost jipprofiljaw fil-każ tiegħi it-tfajliet li jkunu fuqha. U bdejna nibnu relazzjoni, għat ma bdejtela flus, pero ftemna li wara xi 3 xhur isma' ħajja niltaqgħu wiċċ ma' wiċċ, għalhekk m'hemmx interess jaqaf kollox hawn, eċċetera. U għattila biex tiġi overi. U saqsitni biex nibatilha l-flus trip. Sa waqt dawn it-3 xhur l-iskam kienet sofistikata, ġifieri laqqatni b'omma, laqqatni magħha, da kollox online ovvjament. Laqqatni mal-ħbib tagħha, ma trid tibda tajtu hija għandek sens ta' konfidenza li l-affarijiet din jaħdmu mhix xi ħadma. Però kienet ħadma. Ma li battila l-flus biex tiġi Malta, xi ġimgħa wara tajli isma' ġiet misruqa u għala ċeba u tilfet il-flus u għandha bżonn lajnuna u rġabat il-flus biex tgħinni, eċċetera. Għad tiġi fid-dubju, mhux se niddejjaq ngħid li ngħid ma vera, mhux vera. Nitla jien nara, u fil-realtà deċidejt li le, naħseb għattaw inħdimt, taħjar naqta l-lossis tiegħi u noħroġ minna, u dik kienet, it was a scam. So dik l-ewwel darba li kont vittma, t-tieni darba, ħafna żjed riċenti. Jiena meta nixtri online, not attent li kolli card binqas flus biex again jekk niġi skemjat ma jkolli xi level kbir u jħoduni to the cleaners kif jgħidu l-Ingliżi. U għad għandi xi accounts li kienu li żammejthom wara li kont student l-Ingilterra u ħallejtu ħaj, so nuża lilhom ħafna drabi. U rrid nidħol jiena ħobb il-gaming, rrid nidħol ġoloba kont ili sort of nitħajjar għaliha, dawn li jgħidu massive game players insomma. U meta dħalt jisu kien hemm hekk jisu tani xi ħaġa ġo fija ngħid ismajna tħarġa s-sajt it-tajba hawnhekk jew le. U sort of għadġbet nħarressi ta' torret li m'għandix ok. U għamilt il-membership u l-enrollment ta' xi 3 xhur kienu xi €200. U meta tħart ma bedix jħallini nidħol. Provajt darba, darbtejn, tlieta, kellem l-administrator u kellem law, kellem lem u għat hawn ħdimt. U l ħaġa li għamilt malli tajt, ċempilt, mux ma kienux banek Maltin, dawn ġivi ċempilt fin kelli l-bank l-Ingilterra u għattilhom isma' għandni kemm għamilt transaction u naħseb li ħdimt. U kienu tiġaddow, ġifieri bejn tajt u tqaddit it-telefonata u sakemm tgħaddi mill-imbarazza u press 1 you may speak 2, press 2 you may speak xisboddu xi 20 minuta kienu skembjawni xi 300 lira, 300 euro. Ġifindu najt mill-lower, tajt mill-lower, ċempilt mill-lower. Pero apparti dik li zjed ħaġa li dejqitni, sort of chances huma li you will get scammed, iżjed ħaġa dejqitni kemm għamilha diffiċli l-bank biex inti flus lura. Meta ngħid diffiċli ġifieri jiena ma nistax nitkellem fuq Banek Maltin, nerġa' ngħid nitkellem fuq bank Ingliż. Ma r-realtà kienet l-iskem kważi kienet doppja, kienet minn ħaddem il-website, il-klon tal-website li minna li tħarġu l-website reali. U mill-bank li għamillek high-tech diffiċli to the extent li tajt isma' ma ċaħli zjatrini. So, huma esperjenzi ġifieri li leave you a little bit wiser, pero xorta kif tajt, meta taħseb fuqhom tajt isma' I should have known better.
Naħseb kollha taqblu miegħi. You'll all agree with me just how disturbing such experiences can be, and therefore one also asks one comment that was made by this victim was how difficult it was for him to get through to the banks to tell them about the scam and so on and so forth. Aldo, Mark, what do you do as bankers to support victims of such crimes? How do you help them? How do you facilitate what they're going through?
I think first of all, we need to understand a bit better how fraud works to be able to explain what the banks have to do. Okay, so one of the things that people always tend to forget when talking about fraud is that the money from a scam needs to go to an account. Okay, so basically the fraudsters will not use their accounts because that's the first thing that the law enforcement and the banks will follow up when a customer advises of a fraud. So technically they need to use a third-party account so that the money is landed there after the scan is successful and the customer sends the money to where the fraudster.
The so-called money mules, right?
These are called money mules. So this is a third-party account, a mule account. So the fraud victim is then asked to send the money to this account, who is then instructed to transfer the money to unknown persons, normally using a different payment channel, not using a bank or using a money service bureau, for example. And most of the time, when the money when the money hits the account, few minutes later, the account holder, who is the mule, will get an instruction to withdraw the money from an ATM and go to a money service bureau to transfer it to a third party which is unknown to him. Okay, these mules are normally recruited via a variety of methods, by sending emails, letters. We've seen adverts online as well on newspapers, even local newspapers, fake recruitment agencies, social media, and others. Like, for example, when you're trying to sell a good, somebody approaches you and asks you for an account number to send the money for that good. Normally, these adverts work for a few hours from home on commission. You don't need any prior knowledge and just access the internet and the bank account. And so this is the easiest part of the chain to be tracked down by law enforcement, the banks, police investigations, and whoever is acting as a mule is also, although he's a victim as well, most of the time, he's also may be charged in court of money laundering, which carries even jail term. So why I'm saying this? Because as long as the money hits normally another bank's account, okay, the money is gone. So to recover that money is very difficult, especially when the customer has authorized the payment himself. And most of the time when there is a scam, the customer is authorizing and moving the payment himself. It is not like you are doing a transaction and you're not authorizing the transaction yourself. So for banks, it's very difficult even to get online with the other bank, try to stop the payment, because the payment, most of the time when the victim realizes that he has been scammed, most of the time, some days, even weeks, sometimes even months will pass and the money would have been gone from the account and there is no money left in the mule's account. So this is one of the reasons.
Does that also apply to credit cards and debit cards? My understanding is that with credit cards, you can have chargebacks.
Credit cards, yes, there are rules coming out of the schemes, regulations like PSD2, etc. And for that, you can't have a straight answer because there are so many different circumstances and you have to check whether the bank was at fault, whether the customer was negligent enough, whether there was warnings, whether he reported in time. So there are a lot of parameters that the banks will have to go through before deciding whether to repay the customer.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example, which is something I'm going through at the moment. I had taken out a subscription on the internet. The service was good. I got the service. It was a subscription service. One of the scams actually mentioned in Gemma's little black book of scams and frauds. I got the service. It was an educational site. And then I stopped the subscription. Okay. Months down the line, I've noticed, and this is only last week, that I was being charged a monthly fee for the service. Again, without me having reactivated the account. In fact, I went into the account. It told me to reactivate my subscription as a marketing ploy, and yet I was being charged this money. I have written to their customer service and I haven't got a reply yet. What can I do further than that? Can I go to the bank and say, listen, there is this automatic payment. How can I stop it? Because I'm not finding a way of stopping it on the site.
An easy way is to contact the bank so that he will stop your card and issue a new card. That will stop the subscription automatically because you will have a new card number, a new expiry date, etc., etc., and the next transaction will fail. Unfortunately, with subscriptions, most of the time the customers are signing up for things that they did not read in the terms and conditions, and this is a big problem because when you do a chargeback, and your other route is to do a chargeback to try to get a refund of your past payments, especially if you can show that you have used the unsubscribe part of the service. But most of the time, when you pay a card and you get you don't get a service, that's when you are successful in having a chargeback. Most of the time, these subscription services will show to the schemes, to Visa, MasterCard, the banks, that actually you have signed up for the service and you've taken it. Because most of the time it's electronic, it's very difficult to prove otherwise. It's not that you had to receive a physical thing at home, you know, or a registered item. So it is very difficult. However, if you have this sort of situation, write to the bank immediately from the bank, stop your card and issue a new card. That will stop at least future transactions. For the past, you can try to do a chargeback and you have to prove that you have done and advised the service provider to stop your service. I don't know whether Anthony.
Aldo.
As Mark is saying, banks, because the point is, the source of the problem is, in the first place, the subscription. So in this case, the card holder provided the card details himself on his own voluntary will for a service, blah, blah, blah. So that's the first thing. Visa and MasterCard regulations, for example, will not cover you if you gave you the details yourselves. The question comes when you ask to stop the service. Then, as Mark is saying, yes, banks will ask for a chargeback to get the money back. Stopping the card, such transactions are usually carried by the merchant or by the fraudster in offline mode. So stopping the card does not mean you don't receive the transaction, although the fact that you stop the card, it is covered. But it's a nuisance as well. So banks usually first try with chargebacks. But then, as Mark is saying, one would need to stop a transaction. I am aware also of regulations from MasterCard and Visa, by which recurring transactions, such subscriptions, there can be an exchange of the new card number as well. It is voluntary, optional. I don't think the mandate is in force yet. But banks start with chargebacks to get the money back.
Anthony, from the MFS says, I know that recently there was some notice that was issued that addressed this issue of mules, money mules, and there was some scheme recently.
Yes, Mario. Actually, I would like to add some quick note on the video that we have just watched. I would like to underline, first of all, the human element. I think it is very important, the part where the victim is declaring that he is an uneducated person. And these broad did target people of these fraudsters. I think the fact that we need to underline over there is actually his vulnerability. But what this term means actually, I mean, who is vulnerable? At that point in time, he was saying that he was working day and night. So most probably he's an only person, and this is maybe a situation that many people are experiencing or have experienced in the past months due to the COVID situation. So most probably people had more time confined at home, had access to the internet, most probably went through economic problems, and thought that an advertisement saying that you would make easy money in a short period of time would solve their problem. So this is an aspect that I think we should put forward, and just to not identify vulnerable people with elderly people, because it's not just the case. And this, I'm also speaking from my perspective as a front-end relationship manager at the MFSA, where I am the person receiving sometimes the calls and the notifications of suspect of frauds. There is also a technical aspect that I would like to underline, if I may. Aldo and Marco have talked about these financial institutions that might be used for transactions, payments. Most of them are not banks sometimes. So it is extremely important to use the MFSA for your own protection. How? You have two means, basically. You can call a free phone that we have set up in this regard to contact the communications department and check if an institution is actually regulated. So this is the first step that a person needs to do when contracting a service or buying a product from a financial entity. Because obviously, if an entity is regulated by a financial regulator, then you will have a certain security. So this is very important. And then you have on our website, apart from the contact form, the financial services register, which is the register of all financial services practitioners and entities registered with the MFSA. You just need to click the name of the entity, and then you will know, first of all, if the entity is regulated or not. Secondly, all available public information about the entity. So if also that activity can be performed by that particular entity. For all those people, obviously, that do not have access to the internet or are not that familiar with our website, there is always the free phone. If I may, I will just remind it, which is the 900-74-924.
Thank you, Anthony.
But
You're
it
allowed.
seems-
You're allowed to plug in to make a plug-in right now. Both Iris and Carm want to say something. Iris, you go first.
About what Anthony was saying just now. To go into this listing and information that you have to be a subscriber, no? Because with
Excuse me?
other companies, we had to pay a subscription fee annually so that we can access these lists of companies that are...
No. Not at all. It's free for all. No, you just type www.mfsa.mt. You have a blue banner at the top of the page, and over there you click on Financial Services Register, and then you can search by the name of the entity. So this is available.
I think what you're referring to, Iris, may be to access the documents and so on that would be part of the registry.
To know whether it
But
is
there is an
eligible or
element
not.
of information that is free and available to all. Carm, you wanted to make an intervention about it.
Yes, it's not the major frauds and scams comes through not banks actually, through purchasing. So I think we've become so digital and so it's so how can I say, even for well-being, it's very good to be digital and do things online. And I have to stress to people who are watching, don't get paranoid, which means you start to suspect everything that comes, because that stops obviously business, that stops also your well-being. But however, there are some things that need to be, let's say, challenged. I mean, remember that even at times people with mobiles, with tablets, they have, for instance, their email. They don't log out. They leave it there. You know, they click on it to go on Gmail and on, you know. Now, when you go to personal email and sometimes even corporate emails, and there is a lot of sensitive information, including passwords for banks, you know. So sometimes once your mobile or your tablet or sometimes PC, especially personal, and not because sometimes companies, they do have firewalls and things like that. Once you're compromised, then the trouble starts, because, you know, these people, they know how to look for, you know, usually people, they put their passwords, some indication that it's a password. Once you do those things, that's it, you're compromised. So you need to question yourself and be careful that, you know, true, with these gadgets, it's very functional to leave emails logged in, so that when you click on it, you see the, you know, but also you're compromising your security. This is of crucial importance, because I have to say, like they said, once your transaction goes out of the bank, it's very difficult for them to recover. Sometimes they do recover, and I have been in these subscription things that people don't look at the statement as well, their credit card statements, and after about 3 months, they notice a couple of transactions being recurring for the last 6 months, you know, on subscription that you didn't even, you know. Going on social media, you do click here and there, and sometimes you don't know what's happening. These are all little items that the consumer needs to know. There are lots of products and scams on Facebook, and especially where, you know, they advertise earphones, you know, Bluetooth earphones, and obviously they look very nice, but then the company might not exist, you know. So you have to be careful. You have to inquire. I mean, these days, I have to mention another point is usually top scams. You know, just type on Google top scams, you know, and it gives you a list. So you can get some very good awareness by just being a little bit patient and reading a little bit.
I think,
Mario.
ladies and gentlemen, if we have all day to speak about this subject, will take 2 days. Mark, you had something to say, but we'll be trying to conclude over the next few minutes.
One thing, first of all, with regarding to mules, and they mentioned a very important point. With COVID, a lot of people had a lot of time at home, and there have been adverts on local online media, and I can read one of them just for awareness. So this is on a reply, you know, when you have comments. So this one of the comments is like this: I am making over $10K a month, working part-time. I kept hearing other people tell me how much money they can make online. So I decided to look into it. Well, it was all true and has totally changed my life. So, and then there is a link, but obviously you can't click on it directly because that will be detected by most of controls on the website. So you have to type it in your browser. That already seems funny. One important thing as well, and Karen mentioned it, is that today, even if you receive an email, you pick up the header, you pick up some words, you put it on Google search, on a search engine, and add scam to it. And if it is a scam, most of the time you'll get 100%. This is also true as well when you purchase goods. Most of the time you will get adverts, or you are looking for a particular shoes or clothing or anything, and you find a very cheap bargain. Cheap bargains normally are not cheap at all, because most of the time those will be fraud. However, if you type the address of the website you are accessing into a search engine, and see whether it's a scam, add a scam at the back and see whether you get a hit. Most of the time you will find. For those that are a bit techy, you can also check to see when the website was created and the domain name, which is the name that you type in the URL, was created and assigned. Because most of the time, these will be very recent websites and domain names. So, and that shows that this is not a company that has been there on the internet for many months. So it is, or years. So it is most probably a fake.
Iris, final comments.
Yes, what Mark was saying now and reading about this advert that you make a lot of money from your home. Lately, there was also a video here in Malta, perhaps you heard about it, with a famous Maltese business face who was Tapasi saying this was all masqueraded, saying that, yes, it's true, I did it. And this person had then to write a disclaimer saying that it's not true. His face was just cut and paste from somewhere else. And he was trying to find who was behind all this, obviously, because it's a criminal activity. That's all.
Aldo.
There's so very much more to say.
Very much.
But
over an hour flew past and we haven't even scratched the surface, I think.
We spoke about vulnerable people and with specific attention to the elderly. But it's not just the elderly who are vulnerable. Children are vulnerable. Beware of how make sure that we have our laptops, our mobile phones updated with the latest updates, software antivirus updates, and things like that. I think Carl mentioned the emails and passwords, and their passwords. User accounts, we don't have only for emails. We have, I don't know, I don't want to mention specific sites, but our favorite shopping site, our favorite social networking site, all right, our email account, and I don't know how many. It is logical that one cannot remember 20, 30 passwords. So the people would be tempted to write passwords that they remember, to write them down, write them in clear on the laptop or on their mobile. There are tools, software that exists for which you can remember only just one password. You set the rule, they generate random passwords, okay? And you just remember just one password to log in into that application. And like that, your passwords will be safe. You can have the latest antivirus updates, the latest operating system and anything like that. If you don't secure your passwords, anyone can log into your Facebook account, anyone can log into your shopping account, they can do anything, they can ruin you. So there are so many things to say. But
Mario, something, because antivirus has been mentioned here a number of times. Be aware that sometimes you get this, your PC is infected. Press here to download antivirus, and that will be the time when you get something on your PC and it starts roaming around. So obviously always get reputable and not pirated software. It is important.
Yeah. It's a good point. That's a good point, Ron. Anthony, final comments?
Yes, I think I would like to resume, I can resume the tips how to not fall victim of a fraud with a Maltese say, mux kull ma jleq huwa depp. So no one will phone you to make you rich, or you will never win a lottery if you haven't played. So this is the first thing I think I would like to underline. And secondly, to all those who are listening to us, in our website there is a consumer section where they can find guidelines and tips how to detect a scam. If they are in doubt, they can always contact the authority to verify the authenticity of a financial entity. And third of all, if you have already fallen victim of a fraud, it would be very beneficial if you report it to the MFSA so we can publish a warning and maybe save other people, and obviously file a report to the police.
Thank you, Anthony. I think it's been a very instructive discussion. I think we have shown just how easy it is to fall for a scam, to be taken in by what would seem to be a genuine offer. But I think it's also, it's also quite clear that there is a lot that we at the individual level can do, and it is. The onus is really on us as individuals to be vigilant. To, as Anthony said, if you never played that lottery, don't expect to win. So don't fall for anybody saying
as simple
somebody,
as that.
If somebody contacts you and says, I'm going to send you some money, keep some of it, but pass it on to this other guy or through this channel. Don't fall for it. If it looks too good to be true, then it probably isn't true. It's fake. So it's, what they say is true. Common sense is not so common, but we do need to exercise judgment. And I think we all have a role to ensure that we continue passing on and educating citizens to always be vigilant and understand just how sophisticated some of these scams are getting to be because of the internet, because of all the information that we're putting out there about ourselves. So we've come to the end of our webinar for today. I would like to thank all of you, Anthony, Mark, Aldo, Carm, and Iris, for agreeing to participate and taking an active part in this webinar. I would also like to thank David Spiteri-Ginger, who was in the background answering questions and keeping track of our chat. And with that, I would like to end this webinar and invite you to keep an eye out for our next webinar, which is likely to happen towards the end of August, probably about back to school. We'll also have another webinar coming up about the results of the household financial management survey, which we are doing on an ongoing basis. So for now, thank you and good day to you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.